This account posts propaganda, typically speaking. Just flat out fucking garbage. Did not expect to see this in here. I have not scrutinized it yet. I imagine something in here has to be wrong, or they wouldn't be circulating it. Maybe I'm wrong about that, though. Usually this does not come up. If you talk to people, most people have no fucking clue what the black nobility is, and or they will make a blanket assumption and they will call you a racist. You know, a knee-jerk reaction based on an assumption and or hearsay. Oh yeah, and what the fuck do I know? Oh yeah, and look up the House of Liechtenstein and the House of Orange. Those are two notable names of people who are involved in the black nobility, which relates to Spain. I was going to keep it to a minute, and I was going to see if you guys would dig into this. I'm going to do this fairly fast, or at least attempt to. I mean, what you should be seeing in here, and keep in mind, the superficial shit related to the Committee of 300 and blah, 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 and Agenda 2030, and that's not on there, but you got World Monarch. Nowhere in here does it state District of Columbia is the bottom of the trilateral city-states. It was established in 1871. The Washington Monument represents this portion of the trilateral city-states, the bottommost. Above that, you have the Vatican, which is Roma. That's social control related to Catholicism. And it's represented by an obelisk. I want you to look up the name if you never have. And that's the middle. That's not the top. A lot of fucking retards out there will tell you, that's the top of the food chain. That's the trilateral city-states. Two of them. Well, technically, they only tell you the Vatican. They don't realize that the states is a crown colony, a vassal state under the crown. Point being, the top of the food chain is the UK. Specifically, a site in the UK known as the City, otherwise known as the Crown. It's a banking financial central. The royal family is connected to this, but both of those things that I just rattled off are different. And the top of the food chain is represented by Cleopatra's Needle, also an obelisk. What a coincidence. It's by design. And that's nowhere in here because this is superficial fucking fluff. That's relevant to the black nobility. Why would I stress that? Because the black nobility is also found on the coat of arms, if I'm not mistaken, related to the royal family. You see what I did there? Hopefully. Some of you guys have probably heard me say this a lot. It's because we're surrounded by retards. This account is not censored, which means they have 32,000 retards following them and repeating what they leave online. Other people are going to repost this. They're not going to look at it closely. They're definitely not challenging themselves, which means they've never fucking researched any of this. So they have no business reposting this. But this was spoon-fed to them, so they're going to run with it. That's what you see online. Just a bunch of fucking Muppets. Where's this at? Let me see if I can dance back. Where's it at? Let's see. Somebody not complaining. So here's somebody complaining about Disney. And I have no idea what D, P, and W is. No fucking clue what that represents. If I thought about it long enough, maybe I would, but people should spell their words, and I'm not going to be bothered with that shit. Either way, they said, was made to talk shit about Disney and be nostalgia bait for real Marvel fans. Quit it with, and they didn't spell their word, which is retarded. And then they said conspiracy theories. This time around, and then they didn't spell another word. So I'm pretty sure I responded to this Muppet, and I informed them. And this is something that should come up. If you knew this, there's no reason why you would shop around conspiracy theory or conspiracy theorist, because those two words, both versions of that or angles of that, were spoon-fed to the populace to defame, to discredit people who spoke out against things. It's a really flowery way of spoon-feeding that shit to people. Just like canceling is censorship, patently fascist censorship. I've only had a handful of trail mix today. Pardon me, my brain is still misfiring. People should know this. Conspiracy theorist or conspiracy theory was drummed up intentionally, and you could look this up. There's nothing but proof to defame and discredit anybody who spoke out against the Warren Commission, that's the official narrative, the flowery bullshit that people were spoon-fed. What was it? Oswald, killed JFK, and it's done. It's just done. He shot all those shots from the observatory, and there was nobody on the grassy knoll, no other people, nobody in the car that shot anybody, and there was nothing, no other bullets. And then people talk about the magic bullet, and it just goes on and on and on. Not to mention, things are different now in terms of what we consider reality and what you find online. Here's another little tidbit. There's old realm residue. And I say that, but it's possible that media in general has just been corrupted by our masters. The JFK car where he was shot, the car that was trucked around in, I think it was Dallas, Texas. It used to be a 4-seater. It had a front and a back seat. That's what I remember. That's what I grew up with. Now there's 3 seats and there's extra people in the fucking car, which doesn't make any sense at all. But if you look up, there's a cover to, I think it's Time magazine. You'll see the car, and there's only a front and a back seat, which contradicts the other shit being floated around on the internet. It's questionable. I think the car is also in a museum, so it's possible the physical car has 6, or 3 seats. It's possible, based on what was put in the museum. Either way, my point is these things contradict things, and our masters are trying to befuddle the masses in a number of ways. It also creates the prime fixings for conquer and divide. You're going to have people squabbling with each other. No, I've seen the Time magazine cover, which most people haven't. No, I see what most people shop around online with 3 fucking seats in the car. Shit like this is by design to keep us at each other's throats. It's tricky. It's a really tricky, slippery slope, and all the other analogies I could rattle off. But most people don't look into things, they just react. Which brings us full circle to the Black Nobility meme that I pointed out. And maybe I missed something in there. If I did, correct me.